Righto, let's talk about race fans. There's two sorts of race fans. There's single series race fans and motorsport race fans. Most motorsport race fans, there'll be a form motorsport they don't like and they just ignore it. But then they'll follow everything else. They'll be into it. And they're pretty well educated about motorsport. Then you've got single series race fans. Fans who just like one thing. And out of all these single series race fans, the worst ones are supercar race fans. These guys are just out of control. They're so uneducated when it comes to motorsport. They're so one-eyed. They get a catchphrase, they hear a word or something that one of the commentators use, and then they run with it, and then they know everything about motorsport. Some of the stuff that they say now that, got a few of the supercar guys having a crack at NASCAR, some of their comments about NASCAR and about the supercar drivers are just so fucking bizarre. Talking about Shane Van Gisbergen and going over there and showing them how it's done. He hasn't shown them anything yet. He hasn't shown them how to do anything. He's won a couple of street course events where he has 15 years experience. The Cup Cars guys have got no experience in street course racing. Hasn't won a race in the Cup Series on a NASCAR road course yet. Not even close to winning one on a oval. He had a good crack on yesterday at Atlanta, there's no doubt. He was up there and he was driving the race of his life, I thought. I thought it was fantastic. He was really having a go. He was obviously going to get run over at the end. When they come down to crunch time, if he hadn't have crashed out, he would have got run over at the end and ended up in probably, 15th to 20th, and would have been a good day for him. Those experienced guys would have just run over him, when it got serious, time to race for the win. But, you guys, come on. Watch what's really going. He's doing a great job, but he's not the greatest driver in NASCAR. He's a one-trick pony who's good at the one thing he does. He's not good at anything else. He's certainly not good at oval track racing, even though he's getting better and he's learning. And as he goes back to the tracks he's been at before, he'll have more experience and he'll do better. And I'd like to see him win Watkins Glen. If he can win Watkins Glen in the Cup car, that'll put him in the round of 12. So getting into the playoffs, the round of 16, that was his job with Trackhouse. That brings in millions, about 4 million minimum. It brings in to get him in that. And then if he gets into the round of 12, that'll even bring in more money. So Trackhouse will be wrapped with him if he can do that. If he can bring in more money by getting into the round of 12, that'll be great. But he's not going to get it easy. Chris Buescher, last year at Watkins Glen, Chris Buescher completely outmuscled him and outdrove him for the win at Watkins Glen last year. I'm sure Shane learnt something from that, and he probably won't be outmuscled again like he was. But he's going to have to step it up. If he thinks he's going to beat the Cup guys at Watkins Glen, he's got another thing coming. It's not going to come easy. He's going to have to be on his, because the top guys in the Cup are just as good as he is at road course racing on those NASCAR tracks. They're every bit as good as he is. And stop it with the right foot heel toe stuff, you guys. It's not some magical black art. It's not, I know a few of the commentators are pandering to you and carrying on about it, making a big deal. It's nothing flash. Everyone was doing it in the 80s, and most people had stopped in the 90s. Supercar have to do it because of they got a locked rear spool. NASCAR doesn't. NASCAR has what you would consider if it had a diff like in the old days. It's got like a limited slip rear end final drive, so it's not necessary. The clutch isn't necessary, so that's why they that's why they left foot brake in NASCAR and pretty much every other form of motorsport, because you don't need the clutch, and you don't. No other series have a locked rear spool or locked rear end, locked final drive. So it's not necessary to do that. So just shut up about the heel towing. He's not magic. it's just an old school way of doing things that supercar guys still do. Cam Waters had a cracker on the weekend in the truck series. I thought he was fantastic, and they love him too. They love Cam Waters. He's really taken on to the history and the culture, and I hope he gets over there full time. But you supercar fans, fair dinkum, you're something else. And the Kiwi guys, now that it's Van Gisberg, and I thought the Aussie supercar fans were nuts, but you Kiwi guys, wow, you guys are on another planet altogether. Anyway, enjoy your motorsport and try and live in some sort of reality. And I know you only see what I say as one way, but I'm actually rooting for SVG. And Cam, I think he's great. That other little I race at a high level guy, what's his name? I race at a high level. What's his name? I don't know. The guy that drove for RCR and then he fucked everything up by going on the media saying that he wanted to be the guy to go over and teach RCR how to win. That didn't go down too well. When you got a 20-something-year-old car salesman with 4 wins in supercars at that point telling RCR he wants to be the guy to teach them how to win, mate, get a grip. Anyway, cheers everybody.